One of the reasons why there is so much anti-AOC sentiment coming out right now from a certain subsection of the left, especially the left that is fans of the Jimmy Dore show and were proponents of the force to vote strategy, is because they are upset that AOC is not promoting or showing up to this Medicare for All. I believe it's called the March for Medicare for All event that's happening in 40 some odd cities across the country this Saturday. And I discussed the March for Medicare for All on this program before. I did a segment, and you could find it on the podcast, on the live stream, and I also cut it out as a standalone segment on YouTube. And my discussion of it was, one, to point out this complete fuck up where they somehow let someone or had someone or someone found their way into the social media or the Slack messaging system of the organization and were able to get the organization to share that Matthew Heimbeck, a neo-Nazi, was going to be a highlighted speaker at one of these March for Medicare for All events. And a lot of these people didn't know who Matthew Heimbeck was. The shit was promoted. It was a bad look. And the second was, I did want to say I would never knock people for organizing. And so I was down on those who were using this Matthew Heimbeck catastrophe to dunk on these people. Because I'm not going to do that. Again, these are people who feel very strongly about Medicare for All. I do as well. I just disagree with different strategies they are for. Or not even just disagree with the strategies. I just don't think the strategies are this strategy and nothing else. I think those are strategies that should be considered, and there should be a number of forms of direct action and electoral strategies, and they just don't think that way, apparently. Which is fine. But I'm not going to dunk on people who are trying to get out there and do something. And that's been my position. I've not dunked on them. I did point out that these people often refuse to understand what people like me say about the far right. For example, they are all for reaching out to the Boogaloos, mostly because Jimmy Dore did. And they've been urging for this sort of left-right, red-brown alliance. Terrible idea, horrible strategy. This blindness to what the right is for and that we're not going to have this come together Kumbaya movement is what leads to things like the Matthew Heimbeck being announced as a speaker for the Medicare for All thing and no one immediately shutting that down. But that was my issue with it, not the fact that they're out there and trying to do something. Good for them. If you're into what they're doing, check out their event on Saturday. But this AOC, anti-AOC sentiment is coming from a lot of the people who are in that world. And I came across this tweet from one of the Convo Couch people. I mentioned the Convo Couch before. One of the co-hosts on their Pasta has been wanting to debate me about the Boogaloo Boys and reaching out to the right. He came out me hard on Twitter. I came back at him just as hard. I love that type of stuff. I don't care. I take nothing personally. I immediately DM'd him and said, let's do this debate. But his co-host on Convo Couch is a young woman by the name of Fiorella, Isabel. Now, again, I'm not too familiar with Convo Couch. I've come across them every now and then. I know they are part of this sort of Jimmy Dore left, and by Jimmy Dore left, I mean they often align with everything Jimmy Dore is saying, where it's this, forced to vote. They align with him on this strategy of basically burning down any sort of progressive that gets elected to office when they don't immediately change everything all by their lonesome. And listen, I'm all for criticizing elected officials. I do it all the time. I just think this criticism needs to be based in reality. And when I saw this criticism from Fiorella of Convo Couch, I immediately saw a criticism not only not based in reality, but one that is just so completely out there that it literally flies in the face of common sense. So for those of you who don't know, Nina Turner, one of Bernie Sanders' biggest, in my opinion, most effective advocates for both his 2016 and 2020 election, has become this progressive firebrand. I think she is fantastic. Has she always been on top of everything perfectly, and always spoken to things in ways that I would agree with? No. Again, I criticize people all the time, but I think she is an example of someone who's legit. I mean, she was a Hillary supporter in 2016 early on. And then someone told her about Bernie before Bernie blew up, and she immediately knew this was the guy for her. And she stuck with him. She isn't someone who found someone else for 2020 when the field was much wider. She was 100% on board with Bernie. She's never changed her policy positions. I'm happy that she did seem to change her positions on electoral politics. That's one of the areas I disagree with her on that I was referencing. I didn't agree with her 2016 comments on how to vote. I did agree with her 2020 comments, not fully, but much more closely aligned. I think she's great, though. And she is running in a special election in Ohio. I believe it's Ohio's 11th district, includes the city of Cleveland. It's a very important special election. The establishment, the Democratic Party, is doing everything to make sure she loses. The race is extremely tight. The election is, I believe, Tuesday, August 3rd. Let me double check that. Yes, Tuesday, August 3rd. It is imperative, if you are a progressive, that we get one more person in there who is a staunch, hardcore fighter for Medicare for All and various other progressive policy ideals. And this Saturday, July 24th, she is teaming up with AOC. AOC is going out to Ohio, and Nina Turner and AOC are going to, they call it a Cleveland Day of Action. AOC for Nina Turner. Join AOC to knock doors for Nina on Saturday, July 24th. Nina tweeted out, "Hello, somebody." That's her catchphrase. I love it. Join at AOC and me on July 24th to meet with Ohio voters about the issues that matter most. Together, we are going to build a country where everyone can thrive no matter their zip code. Sign up with the link below and help us get out the vote. Extremely important get out the vote event for Nina Turner's campaign. Fiorella saw this, Fiorella of Convo Couch, and this is her take. Funny how AOC and Turner decide to meet up on a day there's a 46-city march for Medicare for All. You know what they've campaigned on, what working people gave AOC money for, and what she's donned on her masks and merch, but didn't lift a damn finger to fight for and instead gave money to police. There's a lot to unpack here, but for the purpose of this segment, let's focus on this ridiculousness about there being some sort of conspiracy about the date this was planned for. The reason Nina Turner and AOC are hosting an event in Cleveland to knock on doors for Nina Turner's campaign on July 24th, which just happens to be the same day as this Medicare for All march, is one, it's 10 days out from her election. 10 days out from her election. Do you understand how important the weekends especially are? This is the second to last Saturday they've got. This is a hugely important time frame. The clock is ticking. We are at the tail end of an important campaign. They gotta get out the vote and campaign with everything they've got now. This is absurd. And let's just say, why not go to the Cleveland Medicare for All march? Well, for one, they'd be speaking to the choir, right? These are people who effectively should be for Nina Turner. If anything, they should be out there helping get out the vote for her, knocking on doors. If they want Medicare for all, she's someone, it's part of her party platform. It's part of her campaign platform. You can look it up on her website. She specifically mentions Medicare for all. She's a hardcore Medicare for all advocate. She's a fighter for Medicare for all. You want Medicare for all? You get Nina Turner in there. You up those Justice Democrat numbers. Hey, we got Nina Turner in there. Jimmy Dore said earlier that the Justice Democrats could vote in a block, right? And block Democratic bills if they don't get what they want, right? Well, I just looked it up and they actually can't do that right now. But with Nina Turner, they're a step closer to doing that, right? But that's something that, like I said, that's speaking to the choir. They got to get out there and get people who might not come out for Nina Turner or might not even come out to vote to come out and vote for Nina Turner. That's why they can't go to the Cleveland Medicare for All march. Matt, what's the second reason? The second reason is there is no Cleveland Medicare for All march. There's no march in Cleveland. AOC and Nina Turner having this event in Cleveland does nothing to the Medicare for All march because there's no Medicare for All march in Nina Turner's district. This is how ridiculous this is. I just am like, my mind is blown at how dumb this is. I can't even just, are you serious? There's no march for Nina to attend. Are you saying she should leave her district 10 days before her campaign and go to some Medicare for All march that would do nothing to help her get elected so she can actually get into a position of power and help make Medicare for All one step closer to actually happening? I don't even know. Oh my God. And just one more thing to top this off here. I really. So Fiorella is really mad that Nina Turner's not attending a non-existent Medicare for All march. It shows she's not a real fighter for Medicare for All. Fiorella of Convo Couch, big supporter of Medicare for All, right? It's one of the reasons why she was forced to vote, and all this leftist infighting has been happening over Medicare for All happening. That's because she's a hardcore advocate for Medicare for All, right? One problem. This was heard just a few days ago. Replying, so someone says, this person, don't know who this is, inconsequential, not gonna, but this is what this person says. Medicare for All centralizes healthcare, and I'm against giving government more power. Of course, I'm against it being a Medicare for All. I'm so for a complete overhaul of our healthcare system, but I'm not just going to accept Bernie Sanders' Trojan horse like some reactionary sheep. Now, that's not Fiorella. Okay, so Fiorella jumps in, and I'm assuming she's going to fight this person in the comments and advocate for Medicare for All. And Fiorella says, agreed. Agreed. I can't even believe this. I'm against for doing that also. My issue is people are dying or in debt without meds. In the system we're in, I'd rather folks have insulin than not. At least giving states and maybe cities more than the federal government. For me, mutual aid has to come from smaller coalitions. It's tough. So I want to make this completely clear what this means. Fiorella is coming out as a libertarian at the very least. I mean, it almost sounds like she's advocating for... it sounds like she's advocating for like some sort of anarcho-capitalist libertarianism or some shit like that. Whatever that... what is the yellow black one? The black and yellow flag? But this is astounding. You can't be against government-run healthcare and be an advocate for Medicare for All. You can't. I'm like, I don't know what to say. How do you have a conversation with people like this? Well, you can, but how do you get through to people like this? So she doesn't want Medicare for All. And by the way, giving states and cities more of the letting states and cities run this, you know what's going to happen, right? I mean, you know what's going to happen. You care about people dying in debt without meds. In a system where the states and the local cities decide this and run their own medical healthcare systems, which, by the way, hardcore right-wing ideology that the states should have more power and everything should be run by local government, who, by the way, local government, way more corrupt than you can imagine. Like, federal government may be corrupt in certain ways, but at least there's pressure that can be pushed on them and things can be done to hold them to account. Local governments, this stuff usually doesn't get out. They get away with so much shit in local government. This is libertarian ideology at the very. I'm being nice there, but you know what would happen here if you care about people? People living in red states would die because, you know, Alabama, Missouri, Louisiana, Mississippi, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, Florida, South Carolina, probably forgetting a few. Their states will not provide them with a state-run healthcare system. They'll be forced to fend for themselves, and they will die because private insurance will be all they've got, and private insurance would probably end up trying to make up money lost from the blue states that are providing this, like New York and California, to their citizens. They will probably try to make up for that money by bilking up the healthcare costs for the red states or people who need to buy their own healthcare on the private market because their governor or their local right-wing Republican QAnon believer who just got elected to office won't give them government-run healthcare. But AOC is the one who doesn't want Medicare for All for you, and Nina Turner is a sellout for not attending an event that does not exist in her district. It literally is just being anti-establishment for the sake of being anti-establishment. It's like thinking fucking punk rock is spiking your hair and wearing a studded vest. I totally get that because that analogy rings true to me because I know many people who've came and went from that scene. It literally is the same thing. It's cool just to be in the aesthetics of it, right? But the second push comes to shove, you don't really believe in any of that because that's not what it's about. You just like being anti-establishment. You just like that label, right? That's what this is all about. As soon as what you want wins, you'll be against that because then that becomes wrapped up into the establishment. I mean, that's really the ideology they have here. I mean, is the federal government perfect? Far from it. Is Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, various other social safety net welfare programs some of the best examples of government? Absolutely. And Medicare for All would be one of those. And we would be able to hold that up as just like how the UK has the NHS. We hold that up as a position of pride, a rare thing of pride, where, wow, our country actually ended up doing this and actually did something to help its people. And you're just against that because it would be government. It's just a completely reactionary, anti-establishment for the sake of aesthetics reasoning.